Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon. Is it afternoon?
It's pretty much afternoon.
It's afternoon.
Yay, afternoon. Happy afternoon, everyone. Monday. How's it going so far?
Good. Monday morning started kind of nutso at my house.
Yeah.
But we got through it. I'm here.
You made it through the day.
Yeah,
So that's
I
all
had
that
to be
matters.
a diva and push this back. So sorry.
I know.
That was my fault.
Totally her fault.
my fault.
But that's okay. We waited for you, so it's all good.
Guys.
Cool. So I hope you guys all had a good week.
Weekend.
Weekend. Yes, sorry. Weekend and a good start to your week. Today we wanted to talk with. Oh, some people are joining us. Hello.
Not here though.
I know. No one is
Facebook's a bit
starting. I
quiet.
hear.
You know what? I
That's
bet
okay.
you employers have Facebook blocked. I
You
bet you
think
that's what
so?
it is. For sure.
Well, I should do that here. No, just joking. I won't do that.
I'll quit.
Exactly. No one can look at Facebook. Anyways, today what we wanted to talk a little bit about, so like we kind of said in our little preview to this, is we want to talk a little bit about an article that we had read by RBC, and it said the cost of selling your home without a real estate agent. So of course, this for us realtors is music to our ears to hear that someone else sees our value.
It is and it isn't, because the way that you come up with that type of literature is because people have been burned. So
Exactly.
that's the downside to that, is that it's great because it highlights our benefit, but those stories are real, and that's what we don't obviously like, because we can protect you.
Yeah.
We want to.
Absolutely. Well, and what I thought was kind of interesting was just it talked through some of the points of why, because oftentimes people look at working with a realtor as being expensive, because obviously we charge on a percentage basis and stuff like that. But this article came from the perspective of it actually it can cost you more not working with us, because of some of the protections we can put in there, some of the things we might note that maybe a seller may not note, or a private buyer may not note as well. So I thought that was kind of the interesting part of the article.
Yes.
But you're right. Oftentimes these articles come from the perspective of someone who has had a bad experience, and that's never fun to kind of see that happen either way.
Not at all. No, we people sell privately all the time, and obviously
course.
we're not blind to that. We see that.
Yeah.
And when it works out, that's great. Hey, if that was the best thing for you, that's
Perfect.
great. But we know all too often, we've heard it firsthand, the horror stories that can accompany.
For sure. Well, and this is kind of what we were talking about when we were talking about the article. We were thinking, well, why do people sell privately? And of course, most of the time it's to save on the commission that you pay for a realtor, which, I mean, both of us being realtors, we understand that obviously it is an investment, but it's, in my opinion, it's exactly that. You are investing in the sale of your home to ensure, to the best of your ability, that it is being done properly, and that, honesty has been out there. Everything is being done the way that it should. And there is a real reason why real estate is so heavily regulated, and it's because you're dealing with such a valuable asset. Like these assets are worth hundreds of thousands, if not some people millions of dollars. So the government, different regulators want to make sure that that's done properly, and that's why realtors, we have that experience, we have that education, we have all of that, and that's oftentimes what you're paying for. So
100%, it's up to you. It's if you see the value in getting a larger return and protection on your own asset, then you see the value in it. If you don't, then you don't.
Exactly. So one of the points that they brought up was visibility. So they did this article and they based it on someone's perspective. So they had gone through the whole process of selling their own home or trying to sell their own home, and just some of the things that they experienced in doing it. So the first thing they talked about was visibility. Was if you're a private seller and you want to sell your house yourself, for example, on Kijiji or something else, one of the challenges can be that your house doesn't, or your listing just doesn't get in front of enough people. Right? Now, if you work with some other private selling brokerages that are on the MLS, then that's fantastic. But there's also other avenues of visibility that we do at Element.
And that's the biggest thing too, is that it's not just about the MLS. Of course, the MLS that's our tool, right? That belongs to realtors, and we're very proud of that tool. But what we've done at our brokerage specifically is created a larger social network. So that your listing is viewed not just on MLS, not just on Realtor.ca, but we're hitting it from all angles. Obviously, you're here with us on social media today, so that we have a following and you're a part of that. So
absolutely,
that's a big thing for us, is our social media campaigns that we put out there for our clients, our listings.
Well, and not only that, but as realtors, we also understand not every house is geared for everybody out there. So if it's a 2-bedroom house, small, like 600-700 square feet, well, we're not going to be going after families with 3 kids to move into that. We're not going to be marketing it to that. We're going to be marketing it to a different group, and we have different avenues and ways to be able to do that, and different ways of communicating that message. And so that's part of this whole visibility aspect. Is it's not just, like you said, about being up on the MLS or realtor.ca, but it's also about how your marketing package is done to make sure that we capitalize on getting the right buyers looking at these listings and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Yes. Specific to your listing. Yes.
And then the next one that I thought was kind of interesting was buyer's confidence. So this is talking in relation to when buyers are approaching private sellers on their homes. So this is something I guess we've encountered, and something that we understand, because we understand the accountability that as realtors we have, because we are educated and because we're highly regulated, because of all these different things. There's a certain level of accountability we have as realtors, that the information we put out, to the best of our knowledge, it really does have to be accurate. It has to be verified. There's a whole bunch of things that go into that. So sometimes when buyers are approaching private sellers, they're not sure. And in all fairness, sellers aren't in the business, private sellers aren't in the business of selling homes every day. So they may not know what they don't know. Right? They may not know that they have to disclose certain things, or that they need to put out certain information, or what's relevant to a buyer that they could be basing their decision on that could come back to haunt them later on. Perfect example is permits.
Yes, that's exactly what I was
thinking.
right?
This one bites us all the time. But a lot of sellers don't know that. They go, oh, I didn't pull any permits for my basement. What's the big deal? They sell their house. A couple of years later, the buyer who purchased their house has an issue with that. That could come back to haunt the seller. But again, they had no idea. You know what I mean? Like there's so many intricacies to the sale of your home, that sometimes brings a little bit of intrepidation for buyers approaching sellers directly, because, like I said, sellers just don't know what they don't know, right? And they don't know what they're supposed to disclose, because it's not their business really to do that. So that's why oftentimes buyers are more confident when they're going to a listing agent who understands what needs to be disclosed, understands what information is pertinent, understands how to convey that in a way that understands all the pros and cons that come with that as well too.
I also think there's a level of confidence in the accuracy of the information.
Absolutely.
Obviously, a seller is getting money off of this sale. So when a purchaser is going to a private seller on their own, I think there's probably a level of how truthful, how accurate is this information.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying people are liars, not at all. But there is skin in the game here, in the sense that this is their sale. They will be making money off of this home. So maybe the fact that the basement flooded 5 years ago is forgotten on purpose. Right?
Exactly. You never know, right?
So that's where we come in, because we come in and we have those hard conversations, and sometimes you don't want to tell us the information, but we're always of the mindset that transparency is best. And
absolutely. And to present the options to you when those things have happened. Like I always tell people on property disclosure statements that it's a document that we most often have to complete a transaction with, where the sellers basically question, they have to answer these questions about their property in regards to flooding, in regards to asbestos, in regards to so many other things, permits, right? And we always tell our sellers, disclose, right? Especially if you fixed a problem in your house. So for example, your roof leaked, cool, but then you replaced it and fixed the damage. Easy. Great, disclose it. So we're big on disclosure, because we don't want anything to come back and haunt, both for the buyer but as well as for the seller. We don't want anything to come back and bite you in the end, in the rear end. In
the end of your end.
But and those are the types of things that a realtor will help kind of circumvent and help hopefully prepare you for navigate, and also let you know it's okay. Like, let's figure this out. There's, like I said, oftentimes there isn't I always say there's always a solution. They may not be great solutions, but there's always a solution. So like I said, that's what we're here for. That's what some of the opportunity costs can be, is that if you don't disclose certain things, it can come back. And we just want you to be aware of what all your options are. So
Yes, informed, always informed.
exactly. And then the other thing about buyer confidence, and this is something we were chatting about as well too, is oftentimes if we're working with buyers, they usually trust us and they want us to go through houses. We've been through a few houses with them. We've shown them what the value is in having us there on their side, advocating, educating for them. But one thing that sometimes can be a bit of a hesitation for buyers is having them approach the seller directly without their realtor, because some private sellers just don't want to work with realtors at all, which is totally fair. But oftentimes these buyers who have been working with realtors, they may not want to go into that home or even write an offer because they know that their realtor can't come with them, and they just don't feel confident at that point making an offer or doing anything on that property, which is fair, right? Because everybody deserves their own representation in any real estate transaction if they so choose to have it.
And they've built a relationship with their realtor, whoever that is, and they trust their advice and their information. So when that's no longer an option, then that's an opportunity lost for the seller, because that could have been the perfect home and they could have made you an offer.
For sure.
But if you're not allowing them to bring in their own representation, then that, I think it leaves a bad taste in their mouth too.
Sure.
Why?
Well, and they
why
wonder
not?
why not.
Yes.
Exactly. And like I said, I find this, and maybe you find it differently, but I find most of the private sellers that are on Realtor.ca, I do find that they're usually open to representation, so it usually does go fairly smoothly, which is really nice to see. And I will say that's been a little bit of a shift lately, in which I really like seeing that, because when I work with buyers, I want them to feel confident in whatever purchase they're making. So it's really nice that that is what the trend that we are seeing as well.
Yeah,
too. So that helps.
At the end of the day, we're all just trying to work together. So.
Exactly, and create win-win. So, one of the points that this article again brought back, the RBC article brought up, was less attractive offers and not wanting to negotiate. So this was again from the perspective of the seller, not wanting to negotiate. So let's say they were open to having a buyer's agent to represent the buyer. They felt a little uncomfortable negotiating with someone who did have experience in the real estate transactions, because they felt like they weren't on a level playing field. And that's a very real, that's a very real concern as a private seller. Not because realtors are going to go out there and outshine you or anything, but more so realtors understand what they can write, what they can't write, what's allowed, what's not allowed, what the comparables are in the neighborhood. So they are more equipped in a negotiation to possibly just
run
have
that
exactly run it a little bit differently. So yeah, of course. So there's that opportunity cost. And when I say opportunity cost, it's that cost of not
capitalizing
on a resource that's there for you. And so that is a very real situation, where in those situations sometimes you just never know, right? It's the what if. Like, what if I would have had someone negotiating on my behalf? Would this have gone better? Who knows? No one will ever know. Yeah. But as a seller, I always tell people, wouldn't it be best to have all the right people in your court to ensure the maximized value for your home? And I think that's where this comes from more so. And it's true. I know for myself, when I walk into a legal situation, right? I don't feel very comfortable walking in there without having my own representation, because I don't understand the laws, what can be done, what's the procedure here, how does this work, how can I protect myself? I don't understand any of that. That's why I have a lawyer, or I have whatever. So it's, I think, a very similar situation when it comes to real estate, and I think people think it's a little bit more straightforward than it is, but every situation is very unique, and I think we've both learned that throughout the course of our real estate careers. So
it's been a couple of
just a couple doozies,
real fun ones. Keep us on our toes, you guys.
Yeah, I know, right? We love it. And then the last thing to kind of chat about that is, a lot of people, I think we realize it, but you don't realize it until someone says it. Real estate really does happen, like residential real estate happens at nights, weekends, which makes our job real fun. So we're used to working on evenings and weekends, and oftentimes when we're working with buyers, that's exactly when we're making offers, is evenings and weekends. And then we submit those offers to the sellers, and we give them typically 12 to 24 hours is really extensive.
Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes 5 hours. Like
I've seen 2.
Right, exactly. We give you very little time with a strategy in mind, but oftentimes as a seller, if you aren't represented by someone, unfortunately, you have to wait for your real estate lawyer to get to the office, 8, 9 o'clock on Monday morning before you can decide on some of these offers. And sometimes buyers will just say, you know what, if you can't decide right now, we're moving on.
Well,
and
because it sometimes comes between your house and another. If you can't make a decision, well, I'm going to go down the street.
Right, and then as a seller, if you're not represented, then you are in that confine where you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, should I accept the offer? Is it a good offer? Is it in my best interest? So there are some of those opportunity costs where you do lose out on sometimes some offers because you're just not sure what to do. And it's true. If you're not sure what to do, it's best not to do anything because you don't want to get yourself into trouble. And it is a legally binding contract. So if you do sign off on something, you do have obligations there. So it is best just not to do anything if you're not sure. But there is that constraint when you don't have a realtor. You just don't have access to the advice, the consultation, the negotiation, any of that, if it's not done within business hours.
And just someone to run off scenarios, like,
yes,
if we do this, can we do this? Can
Absolutely.
can I ask for this? Can I ask for extensions on this? Can we remove that?
What are our options?
If you're not speaking with someone, I know when I'm working with sellers and buyers, I'm consulting with them all the time.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that level of consultation or able to just bounce something off someone and you're relying off of your neighbor's uncle's friend, then you're kind of shot in the dark. So that's the value of, we do pick up the phone at night. We do all this running around over the weekend because that's our job.
And because it's the time that it can be done, because obviously you guys have to work in order to afford these pretty little houses. So
pretty big houses.
Exactly. So we understand that, and I think again, it's not, and this is not the intent of this, is to say if you're thinking selling privately, that's bad. It's just, again, we just want to express your options, and we understand that it is an investment using a realtor, but I know at Element, we want to prove our value to you, and we hope that we prove our value with our knowledge, with our experience, with our marketing capabilities, with some of the tangibles that we put in there, things like including
the staging.
Sorry, someone just wrote a really sweet comment. Thank you, Madeline.
Thanks, Madeline.
But yeah, just we hope that we want our clients to really get a sense that we're really working for them, we're really advocating for them, we're really educating them, and then we're bringing tangibles like the staging, which is something you can touch and feel and see, and then hopefully we can back that up with our intangibles, which is our experience, our knowledge, our education, our listening to you and understanding your situation, and all of those things, and that's what we hope a lot of realtors, and we know a lot of realtors are providing that. And so if you do decide to sell privately, great. We hope that we can encounter you on the buying side, and that you'll be open to working with realtors, because they really are your best asset for getting your house sold. Given the network that we have, and given the systems that our real estate boards have worked tirelessly on and we've invested in as realtors to develop, it's there for your access. And your protection. And your protection more than anything. So anyways, we hope this chat helped enlighten and educate on a Monday afternoon.
And it's really just about your opportunities.
Absolutely.
We know this is a cost. We get that.
We understand.
But understand the flip side. There's a cost regardless. So just know that.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, like we said in the past, if you guys have any questions that you want us to talk about, or interesting topics that you're curious about, feel free to messenger us.
DM us.
I need to get in with the lingo. That's why I have you. But
I hate saying that. Can you just DM me?
DM me. I always find that funny. This day and age, I must be old school. I'm like, email me or call me. Or text me. Yeah, directly.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I don't look at Messenger and all that fun stuff. But we do. Yes, but anyways, off topic and back on. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.